So this is Sketchbook Explorations for Mixed Media and Textile Artists by Shelley Rhodes. It was published in 2018 by Batsford. It's a hardback book with 144 pages. Now, even if you're not interested in textiles, this book will still give you lots of information on how to keep a sketchbook, especially for mixed media. But it could be of interest to anyone who wants to start out with sketchbooks. Maybe you're a bit fed up of just plain watercolour or pen and ink, you want to add a different element to your work. If you're just starting out with mixed media, this really has so much information for you. Now, one thing I need to mention is the cover is really interesting. It's like a fabric effect, but the downside of this is it can get quite grubby, so just be careful when you have it on your desk. It's not so easy to wipe clean. I have had quite a few marks on this accidentally, unfortunately, but I've just got a damp cloth, wrung it out so it's almost dry, and just gently wiped or patted onto the mark to try and lift it. So it does collect the dust, so it's just something to be aware of when you're storing this book. Just make sure that you don't ruin the cover. It's such a shame when you ruin the cover of the book. But it is quite sturdy, so, you know, use the book. Don't worry too much. Just think about it if you're putting it down on your table and the table's damp or whatever. So let's have a look at the contents. Why work in sketchbooks, different types of sketchbooks, sketchbook formats, making a start, working in mixed media, words and text, travels with a sketchbook, presentation, editing and selection, using digital technology and developing work through sketchbooks. Now, I love mixed media and I love textiles. I started off in graphic design, but I ended up in textiles. And one of the first things we did on my textile course was create this wonderful sketchbook that we made ourselves, and we just filled it with all sorts of things that inspired us. And I think that's the exciting thing about a sketchbook. It's personal to you. No one can tell you what you have to put in it. You don't have to even use the information you put in it. Just collect things that you like, images, colours, and just do whatever you want with your sketchbook. And it's something that you don't have to share with anyone. Just pick it up when you want to. You can put it away when it's finished. You can add to it whenever you feel like it. And I just think this book it's really taken me back to my textile days. This is when I first got interested in mixed media, was when I studied textiles. Before that, I just worked in pen and ink and watercolour, and yes, it just is a wonderful book for me to look at. So I'll just flip through all these beautiful pages, and I hope it will give you some ideas. Now, getting started is always the most difficult thing, so when you do get your sketchbook, don't sit it on the shelf. Just put any sort of mark in it, just paint some backgrounds or do something, and then it's always easier to carry on. Now, I hope that this will give you lots of ideas. I think this is a really interesting book. Some lovely colour. So you don't even have to actually draw an image. You can just play about with colour, little fabric samples, some interesting threads or yarn, little bits of fabric and lace. It's a great way to keep everything together so that you can find it easily when you need it. So for me, this is a book to dip into. It's not something I would sit and read in one go, but it's lovely just to flick through. So there we go. This is a wonderful book for anyone who is working in mixed media and textiles, anyone who's thinking about working in mixed media and textiles, anyone who just wants to start a sketchbook and doesn't know where to start. So I hope you enjoyed having a look at that. I do think this is such a lovely book, and for me it brings back lots of memories, but for you it could be the start of your memory making with your sketchbooks.